All right, that's right. We are live. Welcome to the 14th episode of Comic
X
X.
Weeb.
That's right. I am your co-host James, aka Comics for Cheap, aka hashtag Send It to James, aka Cancel Comic for Cheap. I got my co-host with me over here.
It's your boy Chris, aka Black Santa, aka Cancel James, aka Super Cold Water. Yo, I got something special for y'all, man. Like real talk, yo.
Okay.
Like real talk, man. On episode 15, y'all might be getting some special bars, man. You might be getting something real special on 15 just to take these are waters. Girls wet. Get everybody pumped up for what's gonna be coming in 2040.
Everybody's coming in 2040 is what you're trying to say.
Man.
Okay,
everybody.
Good. Good, man. All right. Well, this is the for those of you who don't know, hit that like button, subscribe. But every Monday at 7, we hang out and we talk about everything pop culture, mostly comic books, movies, and anime. And this week, we're going to talk about a little bit about Blade and how iconic he is to Marvel and to movies in general. We're going to touch a little bit on Venom because we just got a trailer that was released earlier today. And I know Chris wanted to bring up some stuff with, I think there was a movie announcement that he wanted to discuss as well. Chris, why don't you kick us off?
Okay, let's kick it off with that delicious information that was blessed on us. The heavens open up, and then Toriyama himself rained down his glory. We are hitting up with that Dragon Ball Super movie 2. We don't have a name for it yet.
Rain and not like jizz, though? Okay. I just want to make sure.
It wasn't.
It seemed like you were waiting on something else to hit you in the face. I don't know. I was just wondering.
We'll do all that now. You know, people who do that, you do what you gotta do. You know, hey, we don't do Black Santa don't do all that, man. He the one who be making that stuff rain. But anyway, the point is, we don't need to be talking about that. The point is, we're getting that. We don't got the name of it just yet. So that's why we're going to be calling it Dragon Ball Super Movie 2 until we get an actual name. But It's really cool that we're getting that now. We probably would have got it earlier if it wasn't for the pandemic. That kind of definitely slowed a lot of things down. But that slowed almost everybody down. So, you know, it's nothing new. But all anime fans, not just Dragon Ball fans, all anime fans are just super excited right now because this is really cool.
So did we get a trailer or just an announcement?
We haven't got a trailer, but Toriyama himself, who doesn't speak very much at all, like Toriyama does not speak at all, but he did like an interview or whatever, and he was letting us know that he's they're working on a movie. They got a special thing coming. It's gonna be even a new style to it, animation style that they're gonna test out on this movie, which we're very excited for.
Well, that could be good or bad.
It could be.
Let's hope it's good.
I'm hoping it's good. They kind of test some things out in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, and it looks stellar. It looked really good. So I'm kind of shocked they didn't just go back to that. But I guess they want to try something else. It might not even be as drastic as we might be thinking it is. It could still be similar to what they did before. But since it was pointed out, it's something to just think about and keep in your head. Plus, it's coming out next year, and I think they really started on it in 2018. So, I don't know. But either way, I'm super excited. I think it's going to be really, really cool. I actually got a video that's going to be coming out on the channel pretty soon with my discussion on who I think could be one of the main, who could be the main villain. But I do want to say this first. I didn't put this in the video, but I'm going to say this here. Make sure it's set up here live before anything gets announced. Something that I think they could do, and you got to kind of go with me, James. I know you're not going to know too much what I'm talking about, but I know the anime fans will.
Okay.
When Android 17 and the Z Warriors or whatever won the Tournament of Power, when they won, and 17 was able to make the wish, he wished for Zeno to bring back all the universes he erased, because Zeno erased a whole bunch of universes. And in the Tournament of Power, the basic premise was if your team loses all their combatants, your universe is instantly erased. Zeno's going to erase your universe from existence.
Oh, wow.
So After all the universe that was erased that participated in the tournament, they was all brought back. But here's the key thing. 17 didn't wish for, I want all the universes that was erased in this tournament brought back. He wished for all the universes brought back. And it was established that Zeno has erased other universes before this tournament even kicked off. He erased them many, many years ago, or whatever the time frame was. So
just for fun, or you know,
that's the thing. We don't know for sure why he erased it. So there's a huge possibility he erased these universes because there might have been some really evil stuff going on there that he didn't like. Gotcha. So what if the movie is taking one of these universes and putting them against the Dragon Ball cast, putting them against our Warriors, our Z Warriors or whatever. I still call them the Z Warriors. Putting up against our Warriors, Goku and Vegeta and the rest of the crew. What if that's what they're going with? I got a feeling they could go with that too, even though, like I said in the video you guys are going to see, I think the real thing is going to be cooler. And then, like I said in that thing too, I'm going to have another video later on following up on how I would put that stuff together, how I would put each movie together on who I would use for the main villain, how I would kind of shape some of their movies. But I'm just saying, I think that would be really cool if he actually brought one of those universes and had them go against Goku and Vegeta and the rest of the crew and see how that went out. That way you get a lot more people to actually do something. Because in the Broly movie, characters like Gohan and only people who did anything was Vegeta and Goku. And Broly fought, and Broly and Frieza and stuff. Gohan, Piccolo, the rest of the cast, they did absolutely nothing. Hell, Piccolo was there just to talk for a little while, and Gohan wasn't even in the damn movie whatsoever, which pissed some people off. But the point is, this way you give guys stuff to do because they'll have new people to fight. Where if it was to go with just cooler, you might not have that many things for other people to do. It might still end up just being Goku and Vegeta and Broly thrown in there for whatever reason to go against Frieza and Cooler. But that's just what I'm thinking.
Gotcha. And then I know you have a video. I got it in my email. So afterwards we'll discuss as far as any editing you want to put in on it. But make sure you guys check out. We will have a video this week, or for Chris going further into detail about this new movie announcement, which is very exciting for Dragon Ball. And you said it doesn't have an official title yet. You said, right?
It doesn't have an official title yet. We don't know who the villain's going to be, but I just put together some logical choices from what makes the most sense from what happened from the past. And the biggest thing about Broly was that Broly himself, before he was brought into Super, quote unquote canon, I really hate the whole canon thing, but anyway, brought into Super, he was a movie character from Dragon Ball Z, and he was in 3 movies. He had the most movies, and he was just hands down super popular, just so popular. He was as popular as anybody, honestly. If your name wasn't Goku and Vegeta, he was definitely that popular. So, and Frieza in Japan, Frieza's just godly. But he was just that popular that Toriyama was like, okay, we're gonna put him in a movie, and we're gonna make this movie him be the star of the movie and bring him into Dragon Ball Super and into anime stuff. We're gonna do that and not just have him as a movie character, which was great. Cooler is probably the second most popular movie character. So, and it would make a lot of sense considering he's Frieza's brother, and Frieza was a big part of the last movie. He's been a big part of the series in general. He's probably the most recognizable villain out of all the villains in Dragon Ball Z, Super, and all of it, and GT. He's the #1 villain in the grand scheme of things. So it makes sense for Cooler, Frieza's brother, to make his impact considering what happened in Dragon Ball Super Broly, where Frieza truly realized, I can't beat these dudes. Goku and Vegeta would be too much for me to stop. Probably can't beat them one-on-one. Then you add Broly in there, I'm going to need some backup. So that's what I'm saying. It would make sense.
Okay. All right. So look forward to that.
Yeah.
And I mean that sounds awesome. Still haven't seen really much of Dragon Ball. I put some on, honestly, Chris, when I was doing some bagging and boarding. Couldn't get through. I don't know if it was like because I was jumping in the middle of a like season or storyline or something.
What was you watching? Which one?
I just went to YouTube because I really couldn't find anywhere to actually like watch it. So like it was just on this YouTube. I just typed in like Dragon Ball full episodes or whatever, and then just kind of clicked through. And I mean, I made it through one of them, and then I was like, all right, I've got to kind
of. Was it Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z though?
I can't remember. I'll have to relook. Yeah, and see. Hey, Richard's in the house. James needs to watch more anime. Yeah,
That's right,
Chris
little
has been
brother.
trying to get me on it for sure.
Don't worry, little bro. I'm gonna get this man watching all that stuff, bro. I have to go down
That's
there
right.
and force him to watch. Don't worry, you're gonna be watching.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I do need to watch some more because especially with Invincible with that show coming on Amazon Prime that was so good. And I mean that was you can classify that as an anime because it was an animated style of format. So
Tell me a little bit about the Invincibles. I don't know too much about it. Like,
okay.
what is the show really about? Like, what's the
So
premise?
there is this okay, so I admittedly I didn't know too much about Invincible until the show came out. So I'm just going to go
Okay.
based on the show.
Yeah.
There is a it's written by the same guy who did Walking Dead. It was written before Walking Dead. So he's very gory and surprising, you know, the twists and turns, everything like that that Kirkman can provide. So basically it's this guy who comes from Voltrum, I think is the planet, but basically he's like Superman, right? So he's got all the power Superman, except I think the laser eyes. I think is the only thing that he can't do. And his whole premise or like his whole thing is he said he's been sent to protect Earth. But Earth also has basically a Justice League established, but he's not part of it. So he's out of that. He's his own thing. He doesn't like to be in any kind of groups. They have a Justice League or whatever. He also has this dude also has a family. His name's Omni-Man. So he has a family and a son, and he's waiting for his son to also see if his son gets the powers. And the son does basically in the first episode, he discovers, hey, I do have powers. That's awesome. I don't want to go too much into spoilers, but it turns out Omni-Man is not there to protect the planet per se. He's actually kind of evil, and he was waiting for his son to try to have him join into this whole evil plan. You know, goes a lot of shenanigans ensue. Again, I don't want to spoil it too much on here, but you know, you can imagine that Superman just tears apart, you know, everyone in the established Justice League, and he's a threat to the new Justice League they try to build. And there's just all sorts of other side stories going on too, because he's not the only villain. There's other villains as well. So it's really interesting. It's a very interesting watch. It's very captivating. The anime style is not clunky at all. It's not it's very smooth. I am a fan of how much gore and everything that like cursing and just how gritty the show is in general. It's definitely worth a watch. It's definitely worth a view. So, and they're quick episodes too. I think there's only like 6.
I got a question though. So when it comes to like the Omni-Man guy, when he came, he came, this is the planet Earth, right?
Yes.
Okay, so he came to Earth, and did he mate with a human female, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's why he was wondering would his son get the powers or not.
Yes. Yeah, he wasn't sure. Because then you also find out that they age differently, so he's actually like thousands and thousands of years old. So everything to him is just kind of like everything that's happened is like a speck of time, because as they get older, they age slower, I guess is the way that he explains it. So he was like trying to tell his son, he's like, none of this matters. Your mom doesn't matter. Your friends don't matter. None of them are going to be here by the time you're like that. By the time you look 30, like none of these people are going to be a part of your life. The Earth might not even exist. What's that?
So he's saying his son's going to age slower too. So he's going to inherit that.
Yeah, because he has the power, and so he's got the blood. So he's like, by the time you look 30, nobody is going to be alive, basically. So he's like, everything is just a blip in this timeline, essentially. And so why do you care about any of them? Is basically like his argument. So it's definitely interesting. It's a lot of fun, and I'll just leave it at that for people who want to watch it, or if you want to watch it, Chris, like I definitely recommend it. I don't want there's definitely some surprises. I don't want to ruin for you, so you've got to just kind of check it out.
No doubt, no doubt. I'm just gonna say this though. It makes it seem that he's saying that from, I guess, experience. He probably had like loved ones he cared about when he was, I guess, younger. But then as time passed, he probably got to that mindset of these people don't matter.
Exactly. Like he already went through like a purge on his own home planet where only the strong survived, like this big thing, and he was one of the strong that survived. So he's like, look, like, you gotta be the dominant alpha to make it, basically. And that's just his mindset. He's like, I don't care about no one or nothing. He even called his wife a pet, basically.
Damn.
Well, yeah, once everything was kind of, revealed that he was not what he seemed, he was like, yeah, my wife's a pet to me because, like, whatever, like 20 years married is really just like 5 minutes in my life. So what is it to worry about her? And, it's pretty messed up, but, at the same time, it's just like, yeah,
yeah, like I agree. Like the calling her a pet thing is really messed up. But I do understand the logic behind the fact where he's just like you said, 20 years married is like 5 minutes to me. So I do get that part of it. Like that part is true. Like a long marriage for a normal human and everything is just nothing. That's just a speck. It's like when these NBA players get fined like $50,000 or whatever. That's nothing. Right. That's like $5. To us, it's like, oh my God, that's crazy. To them, it's just like whatever. Like exactly. You're just like, that's nice. Throw it on the floor, and then just like you just piss out that money, and then it's like, all right, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. So it's nothing.
Speaking of fines, and it's not NBA, but in the NHL, there was this crazy stuff going down last week with the Rangers and the Capitals.
The dude who looked like Strange.
Yeah. Well, the head coach that looks like Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Ji Ho Chung? And yeah, he says, hey, Comics Chief and Chris, what's good? Not much, man. Appreciate you hanging out. We're just chit-chatting, and we're about to talk about the Venom trailer that dropped here in a second, but I just want to get through this real quick. So last week, apparently, like, there was, how, after the play stops, the goalie has the puck, the players crowd the net, blah, blah, blah. They little pushy, shovey, that's normal. So this one dude took it a little too far and, like, took the guy on the Capitals, took the dude on the Rangers, like, and basically threw him down into the ice, right? He lost the dude lost his helmet in the process and tried to get back up. And the guy takes him again and like basically ragdolls him into the ice again. No helmet. All right.
Damn.
Obviously, you know how hockey players are. They're fucking psychotic. So they did not take kindly to this action that was displayed. And there was, a little fight skirmish that went on in that game. Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. That guy was not suspended for anything. He was just fined like a very minimal amount of money. The dude who threw the other player into the ice fined like a minimal amount of money. The Rangers didn't make the playoffs, like basically in the next game or whatever. They were thrown out of the playoffs. They fired their general manager. So that, like all this stress and turmoil basically on the Rangers.
Hold on. Very important question.
Yeah.
Did Dr. Strange keep his job?
I think Doctor Strange is good for right now. Yeah.
All right, there we go.
He traveled through the multiverse, and he's still good.
As I said, he needs something to do right now. So he needs something to do. It's good.
So I guess they took a break from them, played another team, then came back and played the Capitals again. As soon as the puck dropped, 3 fights broke out. There were, I think they said like 150 minutes of penalties in the game. It was insane. I took a picture because there were so many people in the penalty box at one point. They all had to stand. They were all crammed in together. I'm not even playing. They were standing like this at one point because like there was that fight, and then on the next shift there was another like 2 fights, and then another fight. Like in the first period, it was ridiculous. It was crazy. So they were so angry and just like swinging on each other. Oh my gosh, it was insane. And then at one point, the guy, this one dude came up and took a stick. And I knew this was going to happen at some point. I knew it was going to happen. Just boom, right in the face of this other guy. And he got ejected from the game, of course. It was starting to get to a point where they didn't even care about scoring or anything like that. Obviously, they
were
were out of the playoffs. They already lost.
Now.
They didn't give a shit. Yeah, so they were just out. They were ready to fight. They were just so focused. Their poor goalie tried his best, but he kept getting scored on because the Rangers didn't give a shit. All they were trying to do was just fight the Capitals.
We're ready for war.
Yeah, but it was just crazy because they were so furious that the guy did not get suspended for a game or two or whatever. Like, it was a really dangerous play that the guy was trying to slam his head into the ice. Although, to be fair, on the other side, it's a very dangerous play to try to cross-check someone in the face with a hockey stick, too. Ian is like, is hockey even a sport? Yes. Is soccer a sport? No.
Like, all of our national fans that we're gaining are just gone now.
The whole world is just against me now. No, I'm just kidding. I love soccer, but the hockey, it was just so crazy. But yes, anyway, so now let's get to the exciting news of the day, which is we got a Venom trailer. Finally, so excited. And all right, so a lot of people, how haters are haters on the internet.
We got mixed feelings on this.
Apparently. Yeah, we got mixed feelings on the trailer, I think. What did you think of the trailer, Chris?
I thought the trailer was awesome, dude. Like, I loved the trailer. I thought it was really cool. I love the beginning scene of just like him walking into the store and him and Venom greeting the old lady, as well as of course, the first part of the trailer with the Venom making him breakfast. That was hilarious. He's singing songs and stuff. Like, I thought that was cool. And then to me, it did a great transition of getting to the meat of the trailer, what the main story is about. Carnage. About my man sitting there in prison, just being crazy, being his, Carnage self. And we kind of get a glimpse on what turns him into Carnage, how he gets that way, seems to be injected. Maybe some experiments in prison. Could be some things of like, this is me just speculating. Or maybe this is already out there. I don't really know, but I'm just speculating. It might be some things of either the government is trying to test after seeing what Venom did and they're trying to make their own Venom, even though you can make the argument that would be a bad idea to use a prison mate, but whatever.
Right.
I mean, hell, you see what the Suicide Squad is basically about. But or it could just be some rogue guy doing some experiments on rogue girl. Either way, something's happening and he's getting injected.
Well, it did look like Cletus was still in contact with Eddie. We know at the end of the first Venom movie that Eddie goes to visit Cletus in prison in San Francisco, is what it looked like it was happening. So it looked like the trailer had scenes both in California and in New York, and it looks like Eddie is going to be making his way to New York. Is what I got from it, and what a couple other people who broke down the trailer also seem to confirm. But it does look like Cletus still has contact with Eddie, and maybe he visits again. I don't know, maybe like a piece of Venom does get loose and binds with some of Cletus's blood. It doesn't look like he's shy about putting his blood on the walls. You see him like punching the walls and shit, so he's probably got blood everywhere. And I think that's
wasn't in the other movie. Didn't they have like a bunch of Venom suits or Venom symbiotes, everything, different symbiotes? I'm pretty sure they had means of getting symbiotes.
But most of them died except for Riot, and then Riot dies in the rocket. Yeah,
right. That doesn't mean they couldn't have got a sample of one that did.
True, very true.
Before it died, and a piece of the one that they needed to kind of keep things going.
Let's see. Venom intro was solid. It wasn't kitsch. Good tone. Transition to MCU. I think so. So yeah, I'm with you. I enjoyed the trailer. People were saying like it was corny or whatever, like the opening scene where they're cooking together. Oh, Venom's a joke now. Bro, it's called comic books.
That wasn't a joke. That was exactly like you said. It's comic books, and
it's called comic books. So there was, Venom. If you read Lethal Protector 1-6 or whatever, Venom makes some jokes, man. Like they joke around. Yeah, they joke around all the time. Like I remember, like in the first 3 pages of Lethal Protector 1, he's made he's cracked a couple jokes just right on the street while they're going doing whatever. So Venom didn't start out as like dark and serious as they try to make them in the comics. Now, obviously, Carnage has always been like a very murderous persona, but even Carnage today they try to make him a lot darker than like what they started with. Because he was a homicidal lunatic for sure, but he was still funny. Like, it was still amusing to read Carnage in the beginning, and now it's just like, oh, Carnage is just nothing but serious and blah 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 blah, and he's just gonna kill, which is cool. I mean, I get both sides of it.
Most of Carnage craziness and anger comes from Cletus Cassidy, who is a psychopath. Right. So that turns Carnage into a very fun person. But again, Venom has always cracked jokes. He's always been funny. And the ending part of that trailer, to me, sums up Venom in a huge way, where a lot of his jokes can be considered as like dark humor too, where he's just like, even though he might not necessarily be joking, but he's like, yo, I can eat that old lady if you want me to. Yeah. He's like, no, you have to eat her. And she's
no,
like,
you can't eat Mrs. Chang.
He's like, wait, what? He's going to do what? Oh, nothing. Like, that was funny to me. I was like, that's funny.
It's funny, right? So I didn't really like the first movie as a comic book reader. But if you look at it as far as like Sony appealing to the mass universal audience of
as a casual fan.
As a casual fan, or maybe not even a casual fan, just like the date of someone who is a casual fan or something, or is an avid comic book reader, and brings them along to this movie. They still have to understand the premise, right? They still have to kind of have jokes or whatever, get them involved into the movie and invested into the story. So from that standpoint, obviously they were successful. The movie did very well in theaters, and even to like, if I were to remember when we were working, all the girls in the salon loved the movie, and they didn't know shit about comics. You know what I mean?
They're not big.
So you and I were not the biggest fans, but like Alexis liked it. You know, the girls in the salon liked it. The other people, I'm pretty sure Richard liked it. You know, so it's like, not saying it's bad if you like it. It's just like they liked it because they did appeal to more of a mass audience. So I think that's what they're going to go for a little bit here too. But also on the other hand, Marvel has been a little bit more involved in this movie than in the first one. So we may get them steering the ship towards Venom in the MCU, which would be really, really cool.
It could be, but again, to what we were saying a little bit, go on, get that one up, bro.
Yep. Jiho says Black Santa hit the nail on the head. All about dark humor, because you can see Brock thoroughly exhausted in the first scene. Yeah, that's true.
That's right, brother. That's right. But yeah, if you think about it, if they was to follow it as actual comic stories and not look at the casual fan and just focus purely on the comic book fan, people will be very confused. The casual fan will not understand a lot of stuff that's happening. Because you don't have to like go too hard into explaining things, because it's like, oh, the comic fans already know what's going on, or the people who watch like a specific cartoon or anime about this series, they know the meat, chunk of what's going on. The casual fan don't. So when you look at you give it to the casual fan, you have to change things up. You have to make guys even weaker. You have to make guys more relatable, and you have to do that. And I think sometimes comic fans, or even anime fans, sometimes we don't understand that, and we get too angry, and it's like, oh, it needs to be this, it needs to be that. And I can even put myself in that, because I've been very honest. You know how I feel about the Thor Ragnarok movie.
Yep.
Maybe if I looked at it more as a casual fan, I wouldn't feel that way. But as a comic fan, I hate that movie. I don't like that movie at all because of what it represents. So sometimes we just gotta kind of look at the bigger picture and understand that they gotta give it to the casual fan sometime too.
Exactly. All right, so this movie is coming out last weekend of September. I thought it was first weekend of October, but last weekend of September. It is coming to theaters only. Which we'll see how the country is at that point. And then it's going to be followed by the Spider-Man movie in December.
Yep.
And then I think first is it first followed by Morbius? I think Morbius might actually be coming out first, and then the Spider-Man movie.
Doesn't Widow come out before these?
Well, Widow, yeah. I was talking more about like Spider-Man related.
Okay.
To see if we could if Venom does have a chance in going towards the MCU, which I think there were a couple of Easter eggs that show that maybe we are getting that, and maybe we are even getting Spider-Man in the movie too. The guy, there are two different instances. Eddie Brock is reading the Daily Bugle at one point on his computer. and the detective is holding a Daily Bugle newspaper at one point as well. And then you see Eddie behind that guy. So Daily Bugle, obviously a publication in New York City, which makes you think that Eddie eventually does go to New York City because he's behind that detective. I think Shriek is going to be the one that's in New York City. So Shriek, you see a glimpse of her. She's screaming in that glass enclosure, or plastic glass, whatever enclosure. And that is the
plexiglass thing or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the love interest of Cletus Cassidy, especially in the Maximum Carnage storyline. So hopefully we're going to get a little bit of a team up there. That would be really awesome. And then hopefully we get a little bit of a Venom and Spider-Man team up to go against them. I think that would be really dope, like right at the end. But maybe I'm reaching a little for the stars there. But I guess we'll just have to. Yeah, I know, but we'll just have to see, because there was a leak like last year, it was like last year when we thought, because remember, I think I showed you, because there was a computer animation of how they wanted the final fight scene to be, and it included Venom and Spider-Man. So I don't know if that was fake or what, but like, being as the movie was supposed to be released last year, it made me think like maybe it was real. I don't know, but
you never know what can get scrapped. Maybe it was part of the original thing, and then things could have happened that got it scrapped. Yeah, you don't really know.
Yep, they definitely dropped one of the prisons. Ravencroft was named in there. There was actually a really cool Easter egg right behind the detective when he's reading the Daily Bugle. There's like a wanted poster for E. Larson, and Eric Larson was very heavy into drawing Venom and Spider-Man, or Venom, Spider-Man, and Carnage in that era. He did a lot of that work back then. Nothing that we could see as far as Todd McFarlane Easter eggs, unfortunately. He's probably pissed Marvel off so much that they're like, no, don't don't even include him. Don't even mention him.
That'd be funny if he just shows up in the movie. He's just a cameo. He just
my gosh, dude, that would be amazing.
Like, oh man, didn't see this. And then he just turns around and walks away or something.
If he just had like a brief, like they did, I mean, not to compare him to Stan Lee, but if he were to have a cameo of that type, just like a little brief whatever cameo, kind of like Stan Lee had all the cameos, I think that would be really fun. The
problem is, I don't know how reasonable it would be to get a good price from him, but I would definitely attempt it. I would have called him and say, "Hey, how much would it cost for you just to have a little short cameo?"
He'd probably be like,
"Come in here and do this." How much?
Like, go fuck yourself.
I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yo, I gotta call that dude back, yo. What you just say to me, boy? Huh? Yo, we coming for you. And then just hang up on his ass.
Don't even call him. Just show up at his door and knock. What did you say?
He opens the door, just in his face.
Yeah. Excuse me. What did you say? But exactly. So the look of Carnage, though, when they show him for that brief, like 3 seconds or whatever, dude, I don't know, man. I thought he looked sick. I thought he looked really dope.
Pretty good. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah, he wasn't like the blood red or anything, but I didn't
look terrible neither in the last movie. So I expected Carnage to look okay too. I expected him to look pretty good.
Yeah, I mean Venom, obviously, he's just missing the spider on his chest, but other than that, speaking of spiders, we did see Cletus smash a spider.
Now hold on. Now, to be fair, he's not missing the spider. Why would he have the spider? Remember, he didn't take over Peter. The only reason why he had the spider on his chest.
That's my only gripe with his costume design.
But he didn't take over Peter, though.
No, he didn't take over from Peter. I know.
So he shouldn't have that on his chest. I would have had a problem if he had it. I'm like, why do you have this? You didn't take over Spider-Man. You don't need it on your chest.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a brief scene where Cletus is sitting at the table or whatever and smashes a spider with his hand. I thought that was a nice little allusion or call to obviously him wanting to hit the Spider-Man, or maybe the Spider-Man.
Okay.
So I don't know. It could be a little thing.
Could be. It could be.
He looked like some angry marinara monster constructor from all the leftover pizza. It's kind of got me hungry. I think if you looked like super blood red like he does in the comics, that it would just like look a little cheesy, I think, on screen. I don't know. I think they did it right. It was also like, I mean, they have time to edit if they want to edit, but it was also like a nighttime shot, so it was just a little hard to gauge.
I was just about to say, it's hard to kind of tell what he's going to exactly look like from a very brief showing of him just screaming and the way the angles were shot and looked. It's hard to tell. He might end up being bright red. We don't really know, blood red or whatever. We don't really know until we get like maybe the next trailer will probably give us a better idea of what he's exactly going to look like. But from what we saw, he looked good. I thought Carnage looked pretty good. I thought everything, to me again, I thought everything was solid, and it did what it needed to do, especially for a first trailer. Like me and you were saying earlier, if you compare that first trailer to the Venom first trailer, this trailer is league better than Venom's first trailer from last year's movie. I mean, not a couple of years ago's movie. It's a whole lot better.
Right.
So I think they did a good job on that.
So we got a lot from the trailer. So I 100% agree with you. I think it's a lot better. I think it's I think we're going to see some good stuff. I think we got a lot from the trailer, being as obviously we see Eddie and Venom together, still doing their thing. You see how like their relationship, I think, was supposed to be represented by the brief amount of like cooking or whatever, which was funny. Then we see the Daily Bugle, like I said. So there's a link right there. We see Cletus with the symbiote Carnage. We see I think the detective is going to be Patrick Mulligan, who becomes Toxin.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. I think that would be really sick if they kind of went down that age. We see Shriek, who's been confirmed. We've known Shriek is going to be in the movie, but it's good to see her in the trailer, even if it's not in the full getup. Just like a little cameo of her. Let's see. After Sonic, just grateful for anything that doesn't regress back to the first Hulk movie.
Hell yeah, man! Jesus Christ, man!
Absolutely.
We come a long way. We'll get more into that when we talk about Blade in a minute. But Jesus, man, we've come a long way from some really, really terrible CGI, just stuff that looked like straight garbage, to what we got now. So yeah, it's definitely, sky's better than what we used to get.
Right. And yeah, I mean, leading with all this stuff, it could go into like us seeing, because a lot of people think that Carnage is going to die in this movie. I don't know. I don't think he's going to die in this movie. I think that maybe he's going to set up for an actual Maximum Carnage movie, or setting up for maybe later down the line where we have basically like Null come through, which would be really dope.
Again, like I said before, though, my biggest issue is you can't have Null in a Venom movie. He's just too powerful. He has to be in a movie where you have basically the Avengers messing with it. Because I mean, think about again, and this is spoilers again for anybody who doesn't know how the Null stuff ended. We talked about it before the stream, but just in case, spoilers again. Remember, it took Venom getting the power of Captain Universe, as well as mixing together Thor's hammer with Silver Surfboard's surfboard, and using that as a weapon to beat the crap out of this dude. Like, Null ran roughshod over all of the Marvel heroes. I mean, he whooped them all and basically had them all under his control. If it wasn't for the help of Eddie Brock's son, who has the abilities similar to Null, in terms of being able to control symbiotes, they would have lost, hands down. They would have lost. So if there's no way, because I'm not going to front. If it's in a Venom movie, I'm just not even going to watch it. I don't care, because that's. But
if Venom starts to go more towards the MCU and maybe is introduced or whatever and starts, however they want to do it that way, and so he does have more characters in his wheelhouse. If we were to get like a Venom, like how we got Captain America Civil War, where it was a Captain America movie, but it was like pretty much everyone was there. Whereas like a Venom and Null is coming or something like that. And that would be kind of cool, but it would have to be much further down the line. Venom would have to get to a galactic point where he is kind of able to space travel or whatever, so that we could get to more explanation of why and how Null is coming, or who Null is for those who don't know Null, and all that kind of stuff.
My thing is, again, it's just, I don't know if you can use just the name. I understand the Captain and Civil War thing, but still, that was even not a really good Civil War compared to what the comics was too. So right. I don't want it to be, that would be my biggest fear. I don't want it to be watered down like that was. That would be one of my biggest problems, is to end up being that. I have a huge problem with that. That's too watered down.
Right. And after all that, Null still didn't die. Unlike Black Winter, who turned into a little ashy snowflake. That's a fatality.
Absolutely fatality. But yeah, like, that would just be too much of a problem with me. Because Civil War, again, it was a great movie. It was okay. But that was watered down to what the actual Civil War was. And I kind of wish they would have used a different name. And last thing I need is for that to be a Venom movie, and it ends up being that. Because that just does a terrible job. That's an injustice to what Noel is capable of, to have him get beat by like Venom and like 3 heroes. What do you fucking do? Like, that would just make me angry. Because this dude literally took on the entire, not just the entire Marvel universe basically, and was like, yo, y'all can keep coming. Thor came down from the damn heavens and got washed. Like no, can't be Venom. It has to be an Avengers movie. Okay. It has to be an Avengers movie. It has to be a catastrophic thing. Like,
there was someone went frame by frame, speaking of Avengers, went frame by frame when this dude is throwing down the paper of the Daily Bugle. Apparently, like, a page opens up slightly. And you literally have to go frame by frame to catch it. And it says, like, one of the headlines inside of the paper says something to the effect of Avengers lose to Nightmare. Which was kind of crazy.
This movie?
What's that?
You said this is in the Avengers movie?
No. In the trailer for Venom.
Oh, in the Venom trailer.
It says in the newspaper. Now, like, again, you have to slow it down and go frame by frame to catch it. And while he's throwing down the paper, it opens up a little bit, and it says Avengers lose to Nightmare, which is a little interesting. Yeah, so, well, I mean, just time-wise, it goes Venom, Morbius, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. So all of those are coming out within like a 4-month or 5-month period. So who knows? Maybe we are going to see a little bit of that, all that kind of intertwine into whatever, or if they're building the Sinister Six, or if they're leading into Nightmare. Who knows? But I just thought that was interesting that someone actually took the time to slow the thing down frame by frame and caught that little bit that was in a falling newspaper. I was like, dang, someone's got some time to,
and here's the thing too, like, Nightmare is a savage, and Nightmare is powerful himself, but I can make the argument that Noel's stronger than him. I mean, Noel was literally controlling Celestials and whooping their asses and like, yeah, you work for me now. So it's like, that's a whole like level of power. So that's why I'm just like, it has to be.
Let's talk about Carnage, how, like, the differences between Venom and Carnage. So both of them in the comics, right, they don't trigger the spider sense for Spider-Man at all. Even Eddie won't really trigger the spider sense for Spider-Man.
Yeah, he could sneak up on Peter.
Yeah, he could sneak up on him. That's how he was able to push him in front of a train in the Web of Spider-Man series. How he was able to grab him when he was climbing up a wall. Again, not Venom. It was Eddie who was doing this, and like, that makes him a threat just right there, because that's a huge part of how Spider-Man is able to battle his opponents.
That's Spider-Man's biggest weapon, and
for sure.
Thing of his jokes and comedy and all that stuff that he uses as a mask. Really, it's not just to confuse his enemies, it's also to kind of lighten the situation. There's a lot of reasons why he cracked these jokes. It's not because he wants to be a funny guy, but it's because it helps him in battle a whole lot. But his biggest and greatest asset, what can make Spider-Man on a whole nother level, is his spider sense. That's his biggest weapon. So
it's almost what makes him OP, because I mean, his super strength, sure, but like, I mean, we've seen how many characters
he got super strength, but it's not that impressive.
Yeah, I mean, how much
like Hulk and the rest of those guys.
Right,
so
he can beat Hulk in the right circumstance, but not like
and that's because of his mouth and his Spidey
consistently, and his Spidey sense, right? And his smarts. So like his strength, like we've seen tons of characters with super strength. Big whoop. The webbing, okay, that's cool, but there are other characters that got similar weapons or weapons of their own that can counteract. And then so basically, him being able to stick to walls is pretty dope, and that is definitely very essential. But it's the spider sense that makes him like that extra oomph for the OP level.
Keeps him alive. Without the spider sense, he would have
alive.
Definitely early on in his years.
So Carnage also doesn't trigger, but Carnage is able to break off pieces and throw them at whoever he wants to do. So Venom not really able to just break off a piece of himself and throw, or like turn his hands into axes and kind of just throw the axe, right? He kind of has to be attached to it, or he's going to lose part of the symbiote. Carnage don't give a fuck because it's in the blood. He can make more blood. So he just kind of, he can do all that shit, which makes him a lot more deadly. Obviously, there's also the fact that since it's in the blood, and he always calls himself I instead of Venom calling himself we. Because Carnage. It's not two separate beings. It is just one being of Cletus / Carnage. It is just them. It's not really them. It's just him. And being as he is this psychopath, he don't care about nothing. So even if he were to lose a piece of himself, he'd be like, fuck it.
It's like in Dragon Ball when Goku and Vegeta fuse either to Vegeta or Gogeta. It's not we anymore. It's now I, because they are one being, and that's why they even have a new name, either Vegeta or Gogeta. It's not like we have fused and blah blah blah. It's no, like I am now here. I am now your opponent.
Right.
It's very similar to something.
Kick your ass. Wow. We always think of Wolverine's healing factor, but Carnage's is on another level. Yes. Like comparing Mickey D's to Five Guys. I love that. That's awesome. Obviously I've talked about before, like one of my favorite, or if I were to have a superpower or whatever, it would be Deadpool for the healing factor. But Wolverine also with that same healing factor, and then Carnage, exactly what you're saying is that like because he doesn't really matter, he can make the more blood to heal himself, he doesn't mind just making an axe and throwing an axe. And since Spider-Man can't sense it, essentially he's always got to be on guard for just a random spear or blade that could just come to impale him, and then he fucked.
Here's the thing that's funny, because remember, in the original, obviously not no more right now, but in most normal iterations, Carnage is stronger than Venom. Like he's stronger.
For sure.
And that's why a lot of times Venom is like, yo, Pete,
Spidey, we gotta
take care of this street.
Need some help. That's why, and that's honestly why I really think if they do this movie correctly, that we're gonna see Spider-Man at the end of this movie. I really think that that's gonna happen. Venom is, I think Carnage is gonna escape. I think Carnage is gonna end up in New York. He's gonna break out Shriek. I think Venom is gonna then have to be like, we got to stop this motherfucker and go to New York and try to help the detective, but the detective ends up turning into Toxin, I think, is what's gonna happen. And then Venom is just going to be outnumbered. He's going to be like, well, shit. Like, I need someone or something, or I'm going to die. And I think that's where it's going to come to play, where I think we get a little Tom Holland action. Because I think he was supposed to be in the first one, and they cut him.
That's
I think that rumor has made the rounds that he was supposed to be in the first one and they cut him, saying that it didn't work at the time, like with everything else that was going on with the MCU or whatever else was happening.
That makes sense to cut him now, in the grand scheme of things, because that's my biggest issue right now is timeline wise. If you have Peter show up now, I let me do a little bit of booking here. Let me tell you how Peter can show up though. What you're gonna hear, you're just gonna hear Ella, and my man's gonna come in there dancing. He's gonna put in that work. He gonna beat Carnage in a dance contest. They're gonna have to stay to be honest.
Bro, if they have a dance contest, Carnage has no chance. Because let me tell you something right now. All right, I just watched that video again recently because I watch it every now and then because I'm like astounded by how good it is. Right. But like, yo, Tom Holland's got them dance moves, bro. Like, I don't know, I don't care what none of y'all say. Like, that dude can throw it down. Dude, that video is like the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It is hilarious.
Oh my gosh! For those of you who don't know, look up lip sync battle Tom Holland and enjoy a great 5 minutes of your life. Right from
it is amazing. It is definitely amazing.
And it will, yeah, it just comes out of nowhere and it's so good.
Ella, but no, like I just don't. I'm wondering about the time thing because again, like I said before, you could have it be as simple as Peter sees an incident happening. And whether or not he's going through his own thing, he's like, I got to get involved. I can't, like, this dude, definitely if they just show up in New York and then Carnage is running rep shot, he's just like, no. Like, I got to jump in here and try to stop this. I got to do what I can to put this dude down. And then you can, in that way, Venom and Spidey can team up without actually, like, having like this giant, like, you know, like, oh my God, you want to help me? Please help me. They don't have to do anything like that. They don't have to say anything. They just look at each other, have this epic stare off, and then just look into their opponents and then jump into action. And I'm pretty sure that will pop from the theater. That can be really cool. But it's just, I don't know if they're going to go down that route or they're going to say, well, right now, Peter is dealing with a lot of things with people knowing his identity. And he got a lot of other stuff going on right now, and this is happening at this part of time. It's just hard to tell. I mean, I just
was
don't
it
know.
you that was telling me that like that it could be Doctor Strange that comes and helps take care of that problem?
Yeah. Remember at the end of the Civil War, like I was telling you, and that's why I think that would be because I think Spider-Man has two options to me: either he dies, and then you setting up for Miles, or you have Doctor Strange do it in the Civil War and just say, no more. Nobody remembers your identity.
Speaking of Miles, we have Tyler in the house saying, hey, was watching the podcast last week. Y'all talked about bringing Kevin Hart as Black Panther. I'd like to see him as the multiverse version of old Miles Morales.
Oh, no. Yeah. They'd be like,
all right, hear me out.
Why couldn't he didn't grow?
Hear me out. All right. Venom is fighting Carnage. Peter comes in, gets his ass kicked by Carnage. All of a sudden, Kevin Hart comes stumbling out. What's going on? And like he only comes up to Venom's waist.
He's like staring Venom in the dick, and you know he has to make a big joke. Like, He's like, I know what I'm looking at, and I don't want to be looking at it.
Yeah.
But I ain't scared of you.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my god. He's looking at him. Carter's like about to kill him. He's like, please, Venom, somebody. And he, Captain Hulk.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody can save me right now.
Too funny. I mean, you know, Miles could help out with a nice Venom strike or whatever to help out, but I don't think we're definitely not gonna see Miles in this movie.
No, like, that we're not seeing Miles. I mean, they have it. Oh my god, the weirdest thing if he webs his ass up in there and starts putting in work.
It's yeah, Tyler. I know who you are, bro. It's TM Comics. If you didn't know, Tyler, come on, son. Yeah, come on, son. Oh my gosh. All right, so yeah, no, that would be interesting, but yeah, so I honestly think that it'd be very easy to bring in Spider-Man to this movie, and I think that they're just going to hold that for the last possible second to make it a surprise, if they even reveal it at all in a trailer. I think it's just going to be like one of those things where he just kind of that he shows up if he shows up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Like I said, it could be as simple as, like I said earlier, they just have him show up, and him and Venom just team up, and then take their work, and then it kind of goes from there.
Right.
You can do as simple as that. And heck, you can even have like Seize Planet, like in wrestling and stuff, when somebody like Venom can, like Spider-Man can accidentally do something that hits Venom and kind of pisses him off. And then you can kind of plant those seeds for them having a little altercation later on in another movie or something.
Yeah, I mean, there could definitely be something. Yeah, exactly. Like you're saying that, because I mean, at the end of Maximum Carnage, Spider-Man still, like, even though he just teamed up with Venom, he's still like, hey, bro, like, I still gotta, I gotta take you in, or, whatever it happens to be. Yeah, I gotta, wait, you can't continue doing your shit. That's what happened when he banned him to. He's like, all right, get out of here, go to San Francisco. He goes to San Francisco. That's when Lethal Protector happens. He's starting to try to be the good guy, right? But he's still killing people, which is what Spider-Man says not to do. And so that's why Spidey has to show up and whoop his ass again. But, that way, it looks like he's definitely going to be killing people in this movie, the way he's just biting heads off again. There's even like a sign on the apartment, which I thought was funny, that said, remember, no eating people. Yeah. So I mean, at some point, Spider-Man is gonna be like, "Hey, like you're not the best person either, even though we just defeated Carnage together." So that might spark that whole dynamic as well.
It could. It's just amazing how now in comics, obviously, like Venom and Spider are 100% cool. Like hell, even Spider-Man was trying to like console Eddie's son when Eddie died before he came back. What is
paperback? That? I should have displayed this. I actually have the paperback of the Maximum Carnage. I should have displayed that for this episode.
Yeah, you should have.
That's my fault. That's my fault.
It's all good. It's all good. We see it now. We see it now. But yeah, like it's just amazing how like it's just in comics. And the funny thing about it though with comics, even though Eddie and Spidey is cool now, I'm pretty sure within like the next couple of years they'll be right back fighting each other over something else. Because at the end of the day, one thing you can guarantee in comics is it always goes back to what you've seen in the past, no matter what. It always goes back. So,
I mean, we see that time and time again. They're talking about killing. Aren't they talking about right now? They're talking about killing like a major Batman villain, right? Were they talking about that or something? I was like, okay, well, that'll last like 2 weeks and then we'll get them back. Like, nobody stays dead. Even Jason Todd didn't stay dead. I mean, goddamn, you know what I mean? So it was like,
I know. And all of you horrible people is the reason why that man died. Voted for that man to be killed like that. Horrible. Well, Jason.
That's a part of comic history that I fucking love because it's like, honestly, they did put it to a vote.
Yeah.
And we chose death.
Yes. Like, yes. Kill him. Kill this boy. Dude wasn't even a grown man. Kill this child.
Kill this child. Like, that's fucking dark, dude. Like, if you sit and think about the fact that we rooted for the death of a hero, like, that's pretty fucked up, man. Like, I gotta say, I just love that. That just makes me so happy.
It's freaking hilarious.
Oh my god, with a crowbar too. Joker went to town.
I think we should, real quick, before we run out of time, we got a little.
Yep.
I think we should transition over to Blade because I do want to say something. A good transition to the homie.
Time. Let's talk about Blade.
Something that's interesting is that, and I guess Marvel's like latest thing with the Avengers and everything. Have you read anything on it?
The new series with Avengers?
Yeah, with the stuff that's happening. I guess somewhat spoilers or whatever, but
I don't keep up too much with the new stuff, So
that's fair.
Go ahead.
I usually break it off to you and everything to see if you're gonna get involved and start reading or whatever. But yeah, so they basically have the Avenger, like Blade goes into an alternate universe where everything is different. Like Robbie Reyes isn't even. One minute, I got here.
Ian says Blade is the main.
Yes. Robbie Reyes isn't even Ghost Rider. The Avengers are basically not really a thing.
What?
And he's like trying to figure out like what the hell is going on. Like it's really funny. He runs into Thor, right? And Thor is sitting there in a bar just getting drunk, just wasted. And he's like talking to him and bringing up like Thor stuff. And this dude's like, yeah, no, I didn't do any of that. He was like, what about your hammer? Thunder? I can't do any of that. And he's like, are you sure? Because what led me to find you was the fact that there was thunder just popping around here and you're here. And he's like, nope, not me, man. And he keeps talking. And he's like, look, dude, unless you're going to give me another drink, get the fuck out of my face.
Ooh, nice.
And Blade's just like, all right, whatever. And he just leaves and whatever. And then later on,
I don't know if Blade wants to fight Thor, even a drunk Thor. I don't know if Blade wants that smoke.
Because his powers does actually trigger again in there. So it seemed that somebody has changed something where the Avengers are like pretty much not there. And the team It's basically turned into the Justice League. Like, it's a lot of heroes that mimic Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Flash, and that's very interesting. So it's like, I don't know if I'm not necessarily saying they're taking a shot at the Justice League, but I just find that to be interesting, though, that they're just like, all right, we're going to kind of mimic our new team to be the Justice League, basically.
Gotcha.
And the Avengers are just not here. Because, matter of fact, one of the big key differences is certain events still happen, like Captain America was around. But here's the difference. When he's never been found. So everything goes on and time passes, my man's still frozen.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I think at the end of the issue I was reading, I think Blade finds him. I think Blade finds his ice. Somebody finds him frozen. I think it's Blade.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just like key differences like that, which is very interesting to me. Like just the subtle things can definitely change the entire outcome or just work a universe in a whole different way if stuff like Steve Rogers has never saw it out. But I just think it's cool to have Blade as one of the main characters in something like that. Because
we're going to see some of those
earlier, how important he is to the Marvel universe.
Right. We are going to see some of those what if scenarios play out whenever they drop the What If show on Disney Plus, which I am excited for. But as far as Blade, Blade is like one of my favorites for sure. I love the movies, so ahead of their time. Like for coming out in, was the late 90s, I think. So pretty much 25, 30 years ago, these movies came out, and it was just like, golly, man, like incredible. Even like I could throw the movie on right now and enjoy the movie. And yeah, it's a little cheesy here and there, but like I wouldn't have too much complaint about the effects. I wouldn't have too much complaint about like the story, nothing. Like Blade was dope and pretty much saved Marvel. I mean, from going bankrupt, because Marvel was like, oh, we can make movies out of our shit, which is dope. So, I mean, they went off from Blade. They made some shitty movies after Blade, but hey, you know what? They still made some movies, made some money, and continued doing their comics and their stories and everything like that, which eventually led to the MCU that we know today. But Blade, man,
because I would say, go on.
I was gonna say I wanted to read like his very early appearances, Tomb of Dracula 10, 12, and 13. I just didn't get around to it. I had to read the X-Men stuff for what I'm doing tomorrow. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm gonna get around to it this week. I time crunched for reading X-Men coming off of vacation, so I've just been focused on that.
We'll definitely talk more about that part next week or whatever. But something that I think is just interesting is, even though Spider-Man is definitely the one that probably made the most money for Marvel, definitely on that time period of them making their movies or whatever. Sure. Blade is definitely the reason why that kind of happened. Because if Blade completely flopped, I don't think we're getting Spider-Man.
I don't think we're getting Spider-Man movie.
Getting any of that stuff. Yeah, like I don't think we're getting any of that stuff if Blade would have completely flopped and no one liked it. And it kind of sucks though, because when you hear about the credit that they give to the Marvel Universe, and before it happened, they give it all to Spider-Man. They don't say anything about how good Blade was and how important Blade was in general. They just bring up Spider-Man. And
Spider-Man and X-Men. Yeah, X-Men is I would say X-Men was probably like the lead into doing an MCU. I don't think Spider-Man obviously made a lot of money. It was very popular.
Spider-Man was more popular though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think the whole conceptualizing a team, going with different villains,
of course, because Blade and Spidey are solo. While the X-Men is a team, and you could say, how much cooler would it be to have Spider-Man team up with Captain America, or to have, Wolverine team up with this person, whatever the case may be.
Right. Yeah. So I will give X-Men credit for that. I think X-Men and X-Men 2 were definitely also ahead of their time, and as not as good graphic wise, I think, but still like. For the time, I mean, pretty mind blowing. I remember being a kid and seeing like X-Men and just being like, "Wow, that's pretty dope." And same with like Spider-Man. Obviously, I think it was in 6th grade, maybe 7th grade. So I was like 11 or 12, somewhere in that area with seeing Spider-Man. And that was just like, wow, like my favorite heroes on the screen. I mean, that was just like another level of dope. But Blade, obviously, when Blade came out, I was too young. My parents were not about it. But as I got a little older in high school or whatever, going back and watching Blade 2, and Blade Trinity, I was just like, man, this is awesome. It's like this character is so badass. Like, I didn't even realize, I think at the time that Blade was Marvel. It was just like, yeah, I know. So I mean, I was like 15, so I was 16. I don't know. I was young enough to like not really know. I know, exactly, no excuses. But I was just like, damn, this character kicks some ass, and like the vampires and everything would just look super dope, and everything was just like, it was dark too. Like, I mean, it was a twisted movie. Blade's fighting his own personal like demons and hunger and everything, and then just like the fact that these creatures are just feeding on people. Oh my gosh, it was just.
Remember, he had to kill his best friend, his fucking mentor in the first one, because he turned.
Yeah.
You know? He came back, obviously, but still, you know how that shit went down. It was crazy.
Yeah. It was like, sometimes you just gotta kill your best friend. I don't know. You know what I
mean? Fair enough, but again, for your disrespect for not understanding Blade as part of Marvel, next time I see you, I gotta kick you in the dick. Just to make sure you understand, you can't make these mistakes anymore. All right, just to make sure.
Wouldn't make that mistake now. I'm just saying.
I just said.
Ooh, younger,
gotta pay for your past sins.
Because honestly, I mean, what would I have read Blade in? The Night Stalkers, right? He was part of the Night Stalkers, but I don't think I ever really read. There weren't too many. Series. Yeah, there was an animated series but again, I wasn't too much into the TV and everything, so it was just I mean, there was Night Stalker. I remember reading him in Night Stalkers, and later making the connection. I was like, oh shit, that's Blade. But it was like there weren't too many like solo Blade series, especially then. I mean, now there's a lot more Blade is involved.
It's just like, let's just call it what it is, and I hate to say it, but it's true. Blade's not as popular. Like Spider-Man, people know about Spider-Man without even reading the comics. They know who Spider-Man is. Same with Superman. You know who Superman is. I mean, you got athletes who didn't really read comics or care too much about looking at this and that, who call themselves Superman.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Cam does the Superman stuff. I'm not saying, I don't know if Cam reads. Cam does Superman.
I don't think Cam can read.
Shaquille O'Neal called himself like 1,000 things. So, but I'm saying he was pretty big on calling himself Superman. The Big El Strato, the Diesel, the Shaq, whatever the hell he called himself. He called himself like 1,000 things. I'll be naming it for the rest of the damn stream. Dwight Howard called himself Superman, which really pissed Shaq off. Shaq was super angry that man was calling himself Superman, because
Dwight Howard is more like Dwight Howard is like Superman skeleton. Like, that dude is skinny. He's not Superman. He's like the skeleton of Superman.
Look, Dwight Howard was a freaking savage in his prime, and I think Dwight gets crapped on a little too much in his prime. Dwight Howard was a bad man, like Stephen A. Smith was a bad man, but Dwight Howard was never Superman. That dude was never on that kind of level. The point is, Blade is just not as he's not as popular. Like, it's awesome when Blade is in stuff, but a lot of times Blade don't have to be in anything, because he's just not that popular of a hero where it's like, let's call Blade to help us. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just not there.
Who could really help us with these alien takeover? You know what? Let me call my man Blade into this. Blade shows up and he's like, nah, I'm going home, man. This is
I hate what you losers.
I ain't paid enough for this shit.
I got some bad guys to go fucking kill. But no, I mean, I love Blade, because one, as a black person in general, just as a black man, it's awesome when you see a black hero who is cool, respectable, and does some cool stuff. And you wish these guys were more popular. And that's one of my biggest gripes too with the MCU, is because you got, Falcon in there. Now he's doing the Captain America stuff, but that's it? Really? Yeah. And then it was one of those things where he wasn't originally Captain America. He's basically getting a handy down. Like, why come we can't have the black heroes who was established as straight up badasses? And this is them not getting the power from somebody else, but this is their stuff. We don't have that at all in the MCU. Like, no one does that. Like, can we even name another black hero in the MCU?
Well, besides Black Panther.
Well, yeah, Black Panther, yeah. Outside of him, because I'm not gonna count anybody in Wakanda. Outside of Black Panther,
we had War Machine, but he was more of
he's a sidekick.
Sidekick to Tony. Yeah, so we don't really have
so much of a I hate to say really rude, but so much of a person who's not even that important, they was easily able to just change his character and no issues. Let's just switch characters. Let's just
you talking about the actor?
Actor, yeah. Let's just switch actors, and it's not even a big deal.
Yeah, they even joked about it inside the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, they even made a joke about it.
I'm just saying, we don't have any main black heroes.
He was a shitty Falcon, and now a Spanish man is going to do better. So if we get Torres as Falcon for real, I mean that could be dope. We have Sam as Captain and Torres as Falcon. I think that'd be all right. But again, like what you're saying,
at the end of the day, we already know how that's going to end. It's going to end with Falcon going back to being Falcon,
right?
So,
but then who's going to be Captain?
Steve Rogers.
Just no cat. Oh, we're gonna get Steve Rogers back.
Steve Rogers come back. We're getting regular Captain America.
We're getting multiverse Steve Rogers, and just gonna suck him back in. Chris Evans is like, no thanks. Chris Evans is like, I'm good. I want to eat some chocolate.
Him actually wanting to come back, actually.
Man, they get rumors about that every time.
Not wanting to be gone.
They get their graduation goggles, and then they're like, "Oh man, high school was the best part of my life," or like, Captain America was the best part of my life. Blah blah blah. Maybe I do want to go. Maybe I was wrong to step down or quit or whatever. And then like once you're back in it, and you remember all the reasons you left, then you're like, "Oh shit, I kind of forgot that I have to do all this fucking shit." Like, not being able to have a slice of chocolate cake in 30 years. You know what I mean? Like this man's on like the most strict diet of all time. So I mean, it's tiring, it's exhausting. That's what these actors are saying, that it is hard, because not only do they have to be the prime of their life in physical fitness, they also have to be like the utmost role model in real life too. So they can't be caught doing nothing like, going to a bar, drinking, partying, nothing like that. They can't, they always got to be on their A1 behavior, because they're such celebrities that like if they're caught, smacking a waitress on the ass or something, just typical Tuesday night stuff.
Tuesday night stuff.
Yeah, they lose their job. You know what I'm saying?
That's not my Tuesday night stuff, but I feel
that's an exaggeration. But you know what I'm saying? Like they can't do nothing. Obviously they can have fun. I'm not saying you can't fun without partying. But like they just got to. It's so strict about what they can do.
Right. Yeah. You're not saying they can't go to a bar at all. You're saying that they can't like put themselves in any predicament that can make them look bad, because them looking bad makes the brand look bad. And that's one of those things where they can't do anything. So in a lot of situations, you kind of can't go to a bar because you don't know what the guy next to you might do. So if that guy starts to fight and you're pictured in this fight, even if he hits you first and you're pictured fighting back, the headlines are going to read different. The headlines are going to say different, and it's going to make you look bad.
TMZ randomly gets a video of you hitting them, even though you never hit them to begin with. You're like, how did TMZ even get this video? I don't even know.
TMZ is everywhere, bro. Those dudes are everywhere all the time, bro. Like, bro, I was taking a crap, saw the dude right there. Like, hey, what you doing? What you doing? He scattered out.
You just see a phone. Yeah. You just see a phone like creeping under the stall. Like, hey, get out of here.
Hey, get out of here. Get your water bottle against the dog. Stop.
You gotta spray him with the water bottle.
Bad TMZ. Got of here. Yeah. Houdini.
That's hilarious. Oh my god!
But the whole thing comes down to like I just wish that we had more black representation. You know the word I'm trying to use. We have more black people. Main black people, because honestly, the only main one is, let's be straightforward, Black Panther. He's the only main black hero. That's it. No one else. At the end of the day, Falcon was a sidekick.
Right.
And, you know, War Machine is a sidekick. Right. So it's like, why come we don't have a bunch of our Captain Americas are like Hulk and Spidey and all these main guys? Like, we just don't have that.
Right.
And even with the new lineup, none.
We're not seeing too much. If they bring in Eli for Young Avengers, that would be but
they're still not a main. You're part of a team. True. He's not a main hero.
True.
Like, we don't have a standalone other than Blade. That's the only next, and obviously Black Panther, of course, but that's it.
Yeah.
There's no, that's it. And then just taking Black Panther out, Blade would only be the only new main black hero coming in.
Yeah, Ian says Isaiah Bradley and Blue Marvel, but I think Chris is saying that are actually confirmed for what's coming up next for the MCU. Yes. So we don't have a confirmed Isaiah or a confirmed Blue Marvel project. I mean, they might be doing something with Isaiah, like a little flashback film or series or something, which would be really dope. And I think it'd be a waste to not do that. I think that'd be super sick.
I think it would be.
But
I don't have my
as of right now,
happen, though.
Yeah, as of right now, Blade and Black Panther are the only two confirmed, and we still don't know what the hell they're gonna do with the Black Panther film.
No, we really don't.
Right.
But you know what? Enough of the down stuff. Let's just talk about real fast, just the last little bit, at least the last little bit more time.
Go ahead.
Just how awesome Blade is, though. I mean, this dude is a flat out badass. Just riding his motorcycle, just going up in there, kicking vampires' asses. And I'm a huge vampire fan. Like, I love vampires. Like, I'm a big fan of vampires. Fuck Twilight, but I'm a big fan of vampires. And
you go to Chris's house and it's like a Robert Pattinson poster on his wall and shit.
What's the actor name of Twilight? The dude who's gonna be Batman?
Oh, Robert Pattinson. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Just have like a Robert Pattinson shrine right in the middle of my room, just there, like, oh yeah, yeah. Just while I'm doing it, I'm sprinkling glitter on. Yeah. I got a sparkle, bitch. But no. Yeah, like, and it was really cool because like Blade has the vampire powers, but not most of their weaknesses. Like, yes, he still needs blood, but he doesn't suffer from the sun and all that. Like, he's a day walker, which is so cool because he can be out there doing things, and he has such a huge advantage over his opponents and everything. And then Blade is just not like this musclehead. He's pretty smart. And then he's
that's exactly what I was about to say, is that he's super smart with the stuff that he comes up with, his solutions, his technology. I mean, this dude is always like 3 steps ahead of what he needs to do as far as implementing a plan, which is really, really sick. And I mean, the way that he executes stuff, his weapon armory is fucking phenomenal.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Especially in the movies where you see him bust out some of these weapons and it's just like, oh shit. Like it was crazy.
Pressing buttons, swords coming out and everything. Like, this is what I'm here for, bro.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Oh, man. Like, that's one of the reasons, man. I'm ready for the Blade trailer. I really want the Blade. I want something, dude. But we got so many years. I got waiting a long time, bro. Like you said, they haven't even mentioned this dude. They done talked about like 2 years now of content. And like,
and Blade's at like the end of whatever. Because remember, even last week when we were talking about all the stuff that's coming up, Blade doesn't have a confirmed a date, right? So we just have I mean, I don't think they even have a director yet. I think it's just they've cast a couple of the characters. They're probably starting to get them in shape or whatever. Maybe they're writing the scripts or how it's going to play into the MCU. But we don't have a director yet as far as what's been announced. We're just going to have to go from it's definitely going to be a couple years before we see anything Blade, I think, picture or what, unless they somehow bring him into Morbius. That'd be the only way they could kind of squeeze him in,
which I think would be so cool. If that would be a big shocker, and that would be one of those things that I would do a similar route to with Spider-Man, not showing Spider in the Venom if you have him show up, and just have him just show up. Because again, you will get a pop from that theater. Every theater that's going there for the first time, all of them would be screaming like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" And I'll be joining right in with them. And I think you get a very similar reaction if you had Blade just show up in the Morpheus movie at some point in time. Dude, and he's just like, okay. Like he just press that button, that sword comes out. And then Morpheus is like, who the hell are you? And he's like, the last thing you're ever going to see. And then like that would be freaking badass, bro. Like I'll be like, yes, man. This is amazing. Kill him, Blade, kill him. Oh, wait, I like Morpheus. Kill him, Blade, kill him. Like that would be freaking lit. That would be freaking lit.
I think that would be really sick. Or even if it wasn't coming down to like fighting, because maybe if it's coming down because Morbius's big thing is that he doesn't want the sickness of having to drink blood, right? That's like one of his That's one of his main conflicts of like what makes him bad or good is that like he has to do it, he doesn't want to do it, and he's desperately trying to find a cure for it. So what if he consulted Blade for a cure or like how to fix it or how to help? Or like, oh, well, Blade, you're a vampire. Like, you're the real deal, too. So, what do you do? Or even if they just mention him or something, or be like, oh, well, you know what? We actually heard of someone who's working on, this, that, the other with a similar condition. Maybe we should put you in contact with him. Even just like an illusion like that, I think would make people lose their minds.
But see, this is why I said Blade would come in more confrontational. First off, not even saying they actually have to fight. The fight can be interrupted right after Blade says some badass line or whatever, and somebody can intervene. The true person who's the real villain can pop through a window right when Blade is charging. But remember, Blade, definitely younger Blade, and I'm assuming the MCU is going to be going more towards the beginning of Blade than towards the latter of Blade. So if you're going towards the more flat, like the beginning parts of Blade, Blade didn't give a damn what your reasons was. If you was a vampire, he was coming after you. Right. He wasn't trying to do all that talking. He was there to put you down. So that's why I'm like, he wouldn't care what Morpheus is saying because he wouldn't believe him. He wouldn't care. He'd be like, whatever, I'm just gonna cut your head off. And then we'll solve. I'm gonna solve your problem. You don't want to do this? Don't worry, I got you. That's real fast.
Hey, bro, I got it. Let me take care of this for you.
I got you. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
got the cure right here.
Right here. Here's your medicine right here. You ain't gonna suck no more blood after this. So that's no homo.
You ain't gonna be out here sucking no more dicks after this one. Like, whoa, Blade, whoa.
Blade,
that's not what I was doing.
Hold on. What have you been doing as a vampire, bro?
Blade's like, wait. It's blood?
Like, bro, like, Morpheus said that, bro, I only bite the necks of chicks. I don't know what you doing, bro. But no.
Like, I'll give it back to you. Let me go home and bring this up with someone else. I'll be back in a little bit.
But no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think like that Blade would be probably more confrontational first off, and then later on he'll start to see and become more opened up. Right. That's just how I can see that going. But I'm not gonna get my hopes up too much that Blade's gonna show up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, all I could do is believe. Like I have that belief that Wolverine's gonna show up in the Widow movie. I'm like the only person believing that.
That's definitely a reach, yeah, for sure. Though, I mean, both of those. Blade showing up in Morbius is a reach. Wolverine showing up in Black Widow is a reach. Wolverine showing up in Deadpool 3, however, is maybe not so much of a reach, as Hugh Jackman has expressed interest in at least cameoing with Ryan Reynolds. So we'll see if anything comes of that. But then,
timelines-wise, all three of them make perfect sense. Blade showing up in Morpheus makes perfect sense because he could have heard stories about what Morpheus is, and he's like, I'm gonna go check this out. Wolverine showing up in Widow is actually definitely, if it's going to be Widow's past, then technically Wolverine did do that. So that makes perfect sense because that would be factual stuff that happened. And then Wolverine showing up in Deadpool, you don't even have to have a reason for it to happen. It can just happen. Like it all makes perfect sense. Wolverine just showing up. Hell, Deadpool
do anything.
Like, man, I wonder how Wolverine's doing. Let me go check out. He just teleports right next to him. He's like, "Hey, Logan, how you doing?" How are you
Right.
feeling? I'm curious.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I mean, and all of that, and then whatever we said, the reach for Venom of Spider-Man.
Peter's
Yes.
showing up.
Yes,
Again,
Peter's
that
showing
wouldn't
up.
make sense because definitely if it's
Yeah,
happening in New York, Peter's like, I can't let this happen. Like, I don't care what's going on with me. I can't let this dude run roughshod.
So we definitely have some reach hopeful speculations for the movies, but then we also have some more based of what
logical
we think
things
is going down. Yeah,
that makes sense in each of these movies. That's not characters showing up.
For sure. And we're going to draw it to a conclusion here for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But again, guys, every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, we are live on the YouTube channel. Chris is going to have a video up on my channel soon this week. And I'm going to have a video this week in regards to a big event auction that I'm going to be holding next week. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So we're getting down for that. And this weekend I'm going to 2 different comic shows, so that should be fun. Not one, 2 in 2 different cities. So that should be a good time. Having Justin in, I think Ian is popping along as well. So that should be a good one. And and then we'll see you guys right back here on Monday. But thank you guys all for watching. Hit that like button if you haven't. As always, stay villainous.
Just before you end it, just before you end, real fast. Next week, we're gonna probably talk a little bit about Blade, right? A little bit more, maybe about some stuff that actually happened. But what we're also going to talk about some anime stuff. And the question I got for you, James, is the brutality of some of the anime stuff that actually goes down. I want your opinion on it. Like just a little teaser. For instance, like the fact that in Naruto, the Hidden Mist Village, to have their kids graduate, they have to they'll all become friends, work as a team and all that, but only one can survive. So in the past, they would have all of their kids fight it all out. Whoever survives gets to graduate. So we're going to talk about that kind of brutality and get your opinion on that kind of stuff.
Okay. All right. That sounds like a good time. All right. So we will see you then. As always, guys, stay villainous and
fuck the Fantastic Four.